Stories from Styx. Oh my gosh. So Stories from Styx, what day did it drop? Was it the 20?
20th.
So Stories from Styx dropped on March 20th. It is now the 25th. I've I've seen some clips that I could not avoid and it was hard to resist them, but I have avoided most things. So I'm really excited to dive into it today. Peter Barber, that's crazy. So you were cast as Zeus in Stories from Styx, but who are you? Who is this guy? What does he do?
I am Peter Barber. I am a professional opera singer, YouTuber, music producer, podcaster, composer, all the other musical things. I started a YouTube channel during the pandemic, which now has almost 300,000 subscribers, where I do a lot of musical analysis stuff, and that's where I run the podcast and put out my own music. I'm also a member of the Bass Gang, group of 4 bass singers that collaborates from all over the world. You can go check us out in all the places. And yeah, that's pretty much my life. A lot of live performance with opera and a lot of online stuff with YouTube and recording.
Man, so you probably just go all the time.
I am. People have called me the robot in multiple different
The robot is
situations.
crazy. So let's travel back a little bit here to when you were first contacted about Stories from Styx. What's the story? How did you become a part of the project?
I genuinely can't remember if Casper reached out to me first or if I sent him a DM and was like, "Hey, I heard you're writing this piece. Like, I'd throw my hat in the ring for, one of the voices because I've always wanted to voice an animated character.
Yeah.
Obviously, seeing all the animatics with Epic has been so cool. So like this sounds like a cool project to be a part of. And he was like, he or me, I can't remember which way it went, but he was like, dude, yeah, I 100% had you in mind for Zeus. I would love for you to submit an
Wow.
audition for that. So I did it. He had the whole audition thing, and I sent mine in, and then a few weeks later, he was like, congratulations, you made the callbacks, which I guess they were doing at the time. And then I can't remember how long after that, but he was like, yeah, dude, like you got the role. Basically just going to resubmit the same music you did for the demo or for the audition, except a little bit more for like the whole role, obviously, but it's not that much singing. So the audition was actually most of what I do in Titanomachy, which is not a whole lot. It's like a few lines, that little duet with Hera, and call it a day. So, I'm used to doing these like absolutely gargantuan projects where I'm handling all the editing and all the everything. So for me to just hop in this beautiful vocal booth and like I probably recorded it in 5 minutes. And then now it is what it is.
5 minutes. I always say the name of this song wrong. It's gonna happen so many times in this video. Oh my god! If my editor butchers me, I'm gonna be so sad. But
How
it's
do you actually say it?
Titanomachy. So spoiler alert! Like oh my god, Peter dropping so much information. So you're on the one song, and that's it.
I have a very short part in the sixth song as well. I do return.
No
I
spoilers, no
speak to the
spoilers. We're only watching one, but it's fine. Preparing for the role, did you do like any research? Did you get any like character references from Casper? Like, what was that like?
No, I'm not actually acting me. I knew it was going to be animatic, so it was much more focused on like vocal color and like power of voice and timbre and all that kind of stuff. And so when I recorded for Casper and knowing JP was going to be helping with the editing, I just did like a number of different approaches to it. Like I did one very operatic version, for example, and another one was more approached more like an a cappella bass might sing it. The version that I think we ended up hearing was kind of a blend of like some operatic power, but not with all the vibrato and some of the other things you get with opera. And so it was more about just trying to capture like the power and the authority of Zeus as a figure without needing to go super deep into like character study. It's only a few lines and no one's actually going to watch me do it. It's all going to be animatic anyway. So it was more
Okay.
just like, so it was a voice acting approach, like make him sound the right way without needing to know everything about who Zeus is.
We have Zeus in the video. Oh my gosh, insane. Really quick before we begin, what would you say differentiates Stories from Styx Zeus from Epic Zeus in the project?
In Epic, Zeus plays a bigger part, I would say. I mean, there are a lot more songs in Epic, so there's more opportunity for Zeus to be in there. But especially with like Thunderbringer, where it's this that is like the Zeus song.
Yeah.
I as far as I know, unless Casper's gonna flip the world upside down with part 2, the approach to the voice, I would say, is similar. Over the course of Zeus and Epic, Luke had more of a chance to show more vocal colors, like, God Games Zeus versus Horse and the Infant Zeus is very different as far as how he's approaching that vocally. But as far as like the power and the authority and like the dark color of the voice, I think we approached it pretty similarly, honestly.
Okay. Okay,
There's
interesting.
more character
Interesting.
involved with the Epic Zeus as well. There's more time to like flesh out that character. Whereas again, there's just not, there's only 6 songs so far in this piece.
Right. Well, like this is like planting the seed, right? Like this is like the beginnings of a concept project that seems to potentially want to grow to be bigger over time overall. And who knows, like maybe become a continuous thing. And Stories from Six is kind of just the first like, hey, these are the ideas we're throwing out there as far as I am aware. I may be wrong, but it is a concept album. I do know
Mhm.
that it's not meant to be linear. I know that it's meant to be more like bounced around. Do you know if Stories from Styx is meant to be performed all the way through or if there's like book in between the songs? Do you know that?
I don't, but yeah, you're right that it's not a musical theater piece. It's not a story start to finish. It's like a selection of these stories that are, related to Hades and the underworld. I know Casper's gotten a lot of questions about that from people watching and being like, "Huh, I'm not sure this is like how the story went," you know?
Don't say
Um
anything
s-
else! Peter,
that's
stop!
I've said nothing.
I'm honest. Like when we get to parts of Stories from Styx that I've seen before, I'm gonna let you guys know. I'm gonna tell you the lore behind when I saw it and what I thought of it. Like I can't give you my authentic first time reaction to those sections that I do know, but I can tell you what I think of them and how I felt about them when I first found them. And I think that it's
I
like
love that.
with platforms like TikTok and Instagram where you're scrolling and you can't really control what jump scares you and gets in your face, it's kind of impossible to avoid when you're in a small niche community like not just the epic community but I mean the musical theater community as a whole because you have like so many of these small creators and larger creators too that are creating these musical projects and showing them on TikTok to the world, and there's this kind of sphere that exists that it's really cool, and I'm really honored and happy to be a part of it and to know so many people and to have met so many really cool people from being a part of this little corner of the internet. But
Mhm.
when it's so small like that, oh my god. This is the part, oh my god, we're gonna edit this out, but everybody's gonna laugh at me. Peter, what was I talking about just then? It's kind of impossible to, in a small niche community like the musical theater community, to avoid spoilers when the way that these algorithms work is they feed you the content that is kind of from like these spheres. So if a lot of my people are looking at Stories from Styx without knowing entirely how Stories from Styx sounds all the way through, I'm interested to see that because it is a musical anthology, like how it will sound listening to it from beginning to end. And because I
Mm,
know that the songs, I know that they don't necessarily connect. And if
right.
there isn't book in between the songs, I'm interested in knowing how he or anybody that would take on the project to put it on a stage would imagine it happening without any kind of like explanation in between the different plot lines that happen. So like if you guys have
Yeah.
any ideas, let me know in the comments because like that would be really cool to think about. No spoilers though, because I have to watch the rest.
But he does have a tactic that he used to kind of give context for each song, which I don't know if you've heard it and
Okay.
if you've heard.
By the time I get to the end, I'll give like my final thoughts and like maybe I'll have some thoughts about if I think that book would be good in between the songs or if I think it's good sung through. So we'll be able to
Cool.
know that. This is Stories from Six, guys. Let's go. Let's begin. I have no idea like what to expect with chronological order or how anything's gonna sound or anything. So let's just do it. Let's just do it.
Out of all the Greek gods,
Girl, oh my god, she's a baddie. What? Okay, so this is the muse. Oh my gosh, it's Eliensis. Eliensis did some art for Epic, the Apollo section of God Games. I ended up meeting them through that and on TikTok and talking to them a little bit. Such a lovely person, an incredible artist. I am so happy that they're on this project. This drawing is beautiful.
Out of all the Greek gods, Hades may carry the burden of every soul to ever pass through the underworld, but also the burden of misconception.
Okay. Okay, that's a way to start out the project, but it's got like this kind of like crisp sound wrapped around it.
I know what they were apparently going for with the crispy crunchy sound, which is kind of like a radio sort of vibe. Like she's the connection between these stories and like the listener essentially. I think it does work. I think they accomplish what they want to, but I think you could have done that recording on a nice microphone as well.
Right. I think like at that point it's a question of like what his intention is behind giving the audio that kind of quality of sound. Yeah, the burden of
also the burden
misconception is so
Of
interesting.
misconception.
I'm like, okay.
Ironic. A god of this caliber
She has so much sass. She has that little ironic, like, okay.
Ironic.
Ironic, like I love
Hades sees life
the
for the
way that
first
she's
time when
delivering
his
these
father Cronus
lines.
spits up the king of the underworld, along with Poseidon, Hera, Demeter, and
Okay.
Hestia. Led by Zeus, a revolution begins.
Okay. A revolution. Okay, that it gives a little bit of context. You're right.
We must stand united while we suffer. Titans are the sorrow we must read.
Okay, so this is interesting. So like he's got not only what I know are animatic sections, but he's also had people make some artwork. That's so cool.
Our destiny's still ours to claim. Don't live in the past, don't be the same. We've put our first remark. It's before we witness moonlight. We are
This starts
thrown
moving.
into a
Okay,
fire.
it's
What's
becoming.
the point of fighting if we face
Oh, and it gives you the cast.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that you're
So this
there it is.
clip was one of the clips that jump scared me. When I came across this clip, it is so hard. Like tell me that this isn't a bop. Tell me that this doesn't go crazy. Like that.
We love the we love the you know 4 on the floor kick drums.
When Hera
Thank you,
comes
thank
in,
you.
let me her.
We will be known, gods on the throne.
Like,
Brothers and sisters
tell me
never to die.
you can't.
Stand with me now and claim our father's final goodbye.
I
The belt. Yeah.
yo, okay,
There
they're
it is.
unionizing. Okay, all right, let's get it. Neil Illustrator, right?
Yep.
Dude, what?
Yeah, this part's sick.
So
Part's
what
so
what is
cool.
even going on here?
This is the kids fighting Cronus.
Yeah. Yo, okay. Yo, that frame,
Here I
is
go.
crazy. He has that little expression. He's like about to do something right there.
Oh
You
yeah.
can tell. You can tell. Zeus, oh, everybody's shaking. Oh! Oh!
Got him.
So
Got him.
blinded by the moon, we forget about the stars.
Is this the next song? This
Yeah,
whole
major shift.
sequence is crazy, dude. Like, did you know at all about like what was gonna happen in the animatics, like when you were recording for Zeus, or like did you know like what his vision for the song was?
Not a clue.
Oh,
Seriously, not a clue.
interesting.
Because
Okay.
Casper, like musically, I mean, he had it aside from JP mixing and mastering. Like, I think he wrote the music really fast, and
Mhm.
like had used some of his, I think, used some of his older projects that he kind of turned into songs for this project.
Mhm.
So it wasn't starting completely from scratch. Just had songs he had already written that he could use for this, and
Right.
then like, so music he wrote really fast, and then immediately went into working on getting the animators and the marketing and the branding, which I think
Mhm.
is Casper's biggest strength is like marketing and branding. It's
This art is beautiful too. Wow, like
Mhm.
Were we in a prison before he set the bars and where to go?
The divine birthright obligated them to split the cosmos amongst themselves.
Simoon.
Yeah, Moon draws. That's
The
right.
shading is incredible. I love the way that these characters look too. I love the way that the muse's voice sounds. I personally don't know how I feel about the choice to have the radio quality to the audio. I might have made it sound a little maybe a little bit different only because like I want to hear her more. Like I want to like cuz you can hear how beautiful her voice is and I feel like for me other people might feel differently, but for me, I feel like that kind of little bit of crunch like kind of takes it away from these moments that are supposed to be like these are supposed to be transitional moments. Like they're moments that give us context for the story. And I feel like being able to understand her really well and what she's saying and being able to have her voice be the focal point of what's going on in those moments, I think for me as a listener would be more impactful in these
Yeah.
moments that are supposed to be contextual.
Coming from a music production background and standpoint, like you can accomplish the radio filter if you want to do that, but you can still record the audio really well.
Here, I am so fond of the concept and the lore behind the muse and like what she does and her role in Stories from Styx as a project.
Yeah,
I love
I do
her
too.
as a character and I really want to see like how the muse develops and expands as Stories from Styx grows and goes on. So Hades and the muse are kind of like flip-flopping off each other. Okay, so they're kind of like
The divine
deciding.
birthright obligated them to split the cosmos amongst themselves.
Exactly.
Okay, divine birthright. So because they are children of the Titans, they defeated Kronos for like, ha, took the universe, and now they get
Mhm.
to split everything. And this is them
Three sons of
choosing where
Cronus
they
would have
want
their
to go.
territory decided by the fates.
The burden
Zeus
of
decides,
leadership.
but
Oh,
yeah,
well, the territory is
The
decided
three
by
sons
the
of Cronus would have their
fates.
territory decided by the fates.
The burden of
I
leadership.
think Zeus decided.
I feel
Wait,
like there's
let me
no
consult the text.
right. Let's consult the texts again. I feel like there was a reason. Like, wasn't Hades kind of snubbed when he was given the underworld? Like, I think that
Right.
that's a part of the myth is that like Hades didn't want to go.
The thing about this book I'm reading is like it is an abbreviation, but it is still like 600 pages. I found information.
Oh.
Ready?
Yeah. Oh my God. Information drop.
Zeus had now conquered all his foes, asserted his right to the throne, and could at last reign over the world undisturbed. But he knew that it would be no small undertaking to rule well heaven, earth, and sea, and resolved to divide the power with his brothers to avoid quarrels and recriminations. Nice word.
Oh,
He
okay.
portioned the world out into lots, allowing each of his brothers the privilege of drawing his own share. So
Okay.
Poseidon thus obtained control over the sea and all the rivers. Blah blah blah. Hades, the most taciturn of the brothers, received for his portion the scepter of Tartarus and all the lower world, where no beam of sunlight was ever allowed to find its way. And while Zeus reserved for himself the general supervision of his brothers' estates and the direct management of heaven and earth. Boom.
Dang.
So the fates
Okay.
did not decide.
But when you
From
think
this
about it
book.
conceptually, I guess the fates decide everything. But it's like,
Do they?
I guess it's also a question of how much is somebody like Zeus, who's the king of the gods, subject to the fates, and how much are the gods subject to the fates anyway? I don't know
I'm
much.
I know the fates like tell what the prophecy is, right? But I don't know if they decide it. They cut the strings when people die and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm interested now. I'm more interested in this line.
There's so much mythological information. Like when I go into the next video, I'll come back with some more Titanomachy. So I
An
don't know
unusual
why
word.
I don't know why I was under the impression that like Hades was kind of snubbed like with the underworld, like he didn't get to choose.
That's what this book suggests that
Mm-hmm.
Zeus assigned.
So
Yeah. Resolved to
huh.
divide the power with his brothers. So
I
Zeus
wonder,
says,
hold on.
I get the best thing.
So he's like, yeah, I get the best thing, but then what makes Poseidon get the sea and Hades doesn't? Guys, in the comments, if there's anything that we ask about this like Greek mythological context that you know, give us a lore drop. I want to know for next time. I
I
think
think Hades did get snubbed.
let's see how he
I will
reacts
gladly
here.
accept it. The strength of the oceans, I will gladly accept it.
Okay,
The light of
Poseidon.
the underworld, I will gladly accept it.
The times of the Titans are
Okay,
over,
so
and
he's
a new
down.
era
Gladly
begins with
accept
the
it?
Olympians.
He gladly accepts it. And then they sing. Yo! Oh my gosh, okay.
This is when the chat in the premiere was going nuts, saying, I accept, I accept, I
I
accept.
accept. I don't blame them, like, I accept. Wait, like you can kind of hear certain voices like over others like at certain parts. I'm wondering like who sings when. I'll have to go back and like inspect.
I don't know about the whole crew. Casper's obviously singing that ascending tenor line. I'm singing this. I'm also singing except, but I start much lower, so I'm kind of like in the middle of everything. And then there's all these voices that are nicely panned left and right. Thanks, JP, for allowing us to hear those.
Yes.
But I don't know.
Shout
I
out
don't know
JP.
who exactly is doing what though.
I love the way this sounds. But I can hear that one female voice above everybody else, I think, a little bit there. I wonder if that's Hera. That would kind of make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There. Oh, yeah,
So
that is
that's
the end of the
it?
first one. Casper
What were you
dropped
saying?
serious bills. He dropped serious bills to get all these great artists.
To create something like this project is incredible overall, and it has a lot of really cool people on it, a lot of really incredible creators. And what I love about it conceptually is its opportunity to grow and change, and is its opportunity to become what it's meant to be over time.
I'm totally with you that like this is kind of round one, and just the fact that it's been created is such a great thing. And then we get to see where it goes from here.
I know that it's only 6 songs. I know that the primary focus is Hades and Persephone, but Casper has expressed interest that he wants to kind of expand and like do more myths and like, you know, maybe have stories from Styx be a thing that, you know, continues to go on. So I guess something I wanted to ask was like if Zeus was to reappear in stories from Styx and be more present, like is there any myths or any like aspects of Zeus as a character that you would want Casper to explore, like either in the music or in the mythological concept?
His big moments are really towards the start of this whole story. I mean, like a Zeus origin story would be super cool, but that would be like a separate thing. I think the whole start of this myth that Casper had to kind of blow through so we could get to the Hades stuff, like the whole Titanomachy as a myth could be an entire project on its own, which would be really cool. But I don't know. I don't know what like as stories from Styx goes on, how Zeus is gonna. I'm sure Casper could do it if he wanted to, but I don't know. I don't know exactly how he would.
Yeah, like there's so many different myths out there, but I love what you've said about like the origin story kind of Zeus, because I feel like not a lot of people like tap into that or want to explain like
Yeah,
how Zeus became Zeus. What is the lowest note that you sing in Stories from Styx?
I think it's either a low D or a low E, something like that. So pretty low, not down into my like freaky bass range, but
Right.
low,
Which
low
was then what
bass.
I was gonna ask, like, what is the lowest note you can hit as a bass singer? I know nothing about singing. I'm just a little guy.
I won't get too into the weeds. You can go to my channel if you want to hear me nerd out about this. But in pure chest voice, the chest voice is kind of what we used to speak in naturally. Usually I can sing down to about a B flat one, which is like down into the first octave, people call it. And then with subharmonics and other kind of extended bass techniques, I can sing down to like the lowest C on the piano sometimes with subharmonics, and then even lower with chest fry or growl or some of these other techniques. A good bit lower than what you hear in this project. I did sing a backing harmony that I don't think he and JP ended up using. It was like they sent me the one, it was in this song too, so no spoilers. It would have been in this song. They sent me the octave to do it in, so I sang that, and then I recorded takes down the octave, which I think went down to like a low C or something like
Mm.
that. I don't think they ended up using them.
You kind of like exist like on like the edge of like this like It's interesting
I
because
am.
you're more in the bass singer and like singing community, and then you've kind of like edged your way a little bit into this like corner
Yeah.
with like stories from Styx. You came to Tegan's concert and you met a bunch of us, which was really fun. We had a great time.
I've been pulled slightly in and now slightly more in being Zeus in this new project.
No, and then the last thing that I was gonna ask, do your best. Do your best, Peter Barber. No spoilers. Do
Okay.
your best right now. What are your personal opinions, thoughts, feelings in general about stories from Styx' portrayal of Hades and stories from Styx' portrayal of Persephone without spoiling any of the
Oh.
lyrics or what happens? I know the general myth, but like if there's anything crazy, like don't tell me.
I don't think it's terribly accurate.
No?
I think it's fairly romanticized.
Okay.
Um, and that's probably all I can say without spoiling anything.
Hey guys, not to mention, the uncut version of this video is going to be up on my Patreon. You should go over there, check out the tiers. I've got a lot of really cool stuff going on. All of the uncut videos of my Stories from Styx reaction will go up there, as well as a bunch of other fancy little content. Peter, do you want to plug yourself at all? Where do you exist? What things do you do?
Guys, I'm Peter Barber. You can find me everywhere. Just look my name up on Google.
Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right. And with that, we're out. We're done.